All right, everybody, I need your full attention for this one because we have a massive amount of weather to break down today, Friday, February 6th. And honestly, the next 3 to 4 weeks across the United States look absolutely loaded. We are not just talking about one event here. We are talking about a chain reaction of weather systems that are going to reshape conditions from coast to coast. Right now, a powerful clipper system is already diving out of Canada, and it is going to slam the eastern half of the country with heavy snow, near zero visibility, and an Arctic front that is going to send wind chills to life-threatening levels across the Northeast by Sunday morning. We are talking 40 degrees below zero in parts of New York State. That is not a typo. But while the East is getting buried and frozen, the West Coast is about to get hammered by a completely separate storm, pulling massive Pacific moisture into the Cascades, the Sierras, and eventually down into California. And then beyond all of that, the long-range pattern through the end of February and into early March is setting up for some major winter storm signals that could affect tens of millions of people. There is a lot on the table right now, so let me walk you through every piece of it. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. Let us start with what is happening right now and into the next 48 hours, because this clipper system is moving fast and it is already making its presence felt. As of tonight, snow showers and a wintry mix of sleet and freezing drizzle are pushing into Wisconsin and Minnesota. The Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, Duluth, La Crosse, and Green Bay are all seeing the leading edge of this system. But the real impacts start hitting during the Friday morning commute. By the time most of you are heading to work tomorrow, the snow band will have pushed into the heart of the Midwest. Chicago is looking at a rough Friday morning with snow coming down at moderate to heavy rates, and I would not be surprised if we see 3 to 4 inches pile up through the day with gusty winds creating blowing snow on the highways. Indianapolis gets hit hard too, probably 3 to 5 inches by midday with the heaviest bursts coming between 6 and 10 in the morning. Detroit, Kalamazoo, Lansing, and Toledo are all in the firing line for the morning commute, with quick accumulations making roads treacherous. Columbus and the rest of central Ohio could see a fast 2 to 4 inches drop in just a few hours, and Fort Wayne is right in the heaviest band. As we push into Friday afternoon, this system stretches south into some areas that do not always get this kind of treatment. Eastern Kentucky near Pikeville, the entire state of West Virginia, including Charleston and Parkersburg, and into southwest Virginia near Roanoke will all start seeing snow showers by noon. Pittsburgh and the rest of western Pennsylvania are looking at a solid few inches, with Erie potentially picking up 4 to 6 inches given its proximity to the lake. Buffalo, you already know the drill, but this one could drop a half foot on you by Saturday morning, and here is what makes this system particularly dangerous. West Virginia's higher elevations along the Appalachian spine could see over a foot of snow. That is not an exaggeration. The combination of orographic lift and the moisture this system is pulling makes those mountains a snow magnet. Now here is where I really need everyone in the Northeast to pay attention, because the cold air behind this front is not just your average February chill. This is a direct pipeline from the Arctic, and the temperature anomalies we are looking at are around 40 degrees below normal in the hardest hit areas. That is extraordinary even for the coldest part of winter. Friday evening, wind chills across the upper Great Lakes and into Ontario dropped to 10 to 20 below zero. By midnight, that cold is pouring into Ohio, Pennsylvania, and western New York with wind chills hitting 15 below. Saturday morning, the real danger begins as wind chills of 20 to 30 below zero push into the higher elevations of West Virginia and across much of the Northeast. But Sunday morning is the headline. This is when the absolute coldest air arrives. Upstate New York, the Adirondacks, and eastern New York could see wind chills plummeting to 40 degrees below zero. At those temperatures, exposed skin can develop frostbite in less than 15 minutes. That is genuinely life-threatening if you are not prepared. Let me give you the city-by-city breakdown for the worst of it. New York City is looking at Saturday wind gusts over 50 miles per hour out of the north and northwest, with wind chills dropping to 20 to 25 below zero by Sunday morning. Boston faces similar conditions, gusts approaching 50 with a Sunday morning wind chill near 25 below. Buffalo, already buried under snow, sees wind chills near 35 below Sunday morning. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore get hammered by Saturday winds gusting over 50 and wind chills dropping to 10 to 15 below. Philadelphia is in the same boat with the potential for -20 on the wind chill by early Sunday. Even as far south as Richmond, wind chills could dip below zero. If you have loose outdoor furniture, decorations, or anything that can become a projectile in 50-mile-per-hour winds, bring it inside or secure it now. Do not wait until Saturday morning. All right, now let us shift gears completely and look at what is developing out west, because a totally separate and significant storm system is entering the picture. A deep trough is dropping into the Pacific Northwest starting Saturday and really ramping up through Sunday. This system is tapping into a fire hose of Pacific moisture, and we are talking about 200 to 300% of normal moisture levels being ingested into this storm. That is a tremendous amount of water vapor, and it is going to translate into heavy precipitation across a wide area. For the mountains, this means feet of snow. The Cascades in Washington and Oregon are looking at 2 to 3 feet through the middle of next week. The northern Rockies, particularly northern Idaho and western Montana, are in line for similarly impressive totals. The Sierras pick up the action later as the system slides south with 1 to 2 feet in the higher passes. Portland and Seattle face a prolonged stretch of heavy rain from Sunday through Wednesday, and minor flooding is on the table for low-lying areas, creeks, and streams. Sacramento and the Central Valley pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain. British Columbia sees a few feet of mountain snow and 1 to 4 inches of valley rain, enough for localized flooding. Now let us talk about what happens after all of this, because the medium and long-range pattern is where things get really interesting. Once that Clipper system clears out of the east, a massive ridge of high pressure starts building across the center of the country. By Monday, February 9th, temperature anomalies in the nation's midsection could be running 40 degrees above normal. Let me say that again. 40 above normal. That is record-challenging warmth for early February. Des Moines, Omaha, Lincoln, and Sioux Falls could be pushing into the mid to upper 60s on Monday afternoon. Kansas City flirts with 70. Even Minneapolis, which just got buried in snow, could see temperatures rebound into the 50s. Dallas and Houston will be solidly in the 70s. Atlanta warms into the low 60s. Nashville pushes past 60. Charlotte and the Carolinas see upper 50s to low 60s. The Northeast takes longer to thaw out because that Arctic air is stubborn, but by the middle of the week, even New York City and Philadelphia start moderating back above freezing with highs creeping into the 40s. It will not feel tropical up there, but after a Sunday morning at 40 below wind chill, 40 degrees will feel like a gift. The big question for next week is what happens when the atmosphere tries to correct this massive temperature swing. Energy from the western storms transfers downstream, and by midweek, a wintry system could develop across the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago may need to watch for another round of ice or snow. Along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia are looking at mainly rainfall with some marginal severe weather possible as moisture levels climb. Heading into Valentine's Day weekend, the models have gone back and forth on a stronger storm system. Earlier European runs showed a significant low developing, but the latest runs have backed off as a stronger high builds across the southeast. That is encouraging, but a week out these things shift quickly. The biggest snow threats next week look focused on the northeast. Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and eastern New York could all see fresh snow opportunities by late next week. Now let me take you even further out because the pattern through late February and into early March has some big signals worth watching. During the third week of February, the 16th through the 23rd, that western trough ejects into the central United States and starts knocking down the ridge. A stronger winter storm signal is showing up across the upper Midwest on the extended models. Whether it lands exactly where the models show right now or wobbles a state or two north or south remains to be seen. But the signal itself is noteworthy. The southeast stays mild under a weak ridge, so Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas hold on to warmer than normal temperatures during that period. Then, as we push into the last week of February, the 23rd through the 28th, the pattern flips again. A ridge rebuilds in the northeast Pacific, warming Alaska and western Canada, but that sends cold air downstream into the lower 48, especially the western third. The Rockies, Plains, and Midwest could see well below normal temperatures, returning with another winter storm signal on the extended models for the northern tier. Heading into the first half of March, cross-polar flow continues feeding cold air into the western and central United States. Both the European and GFS extended ensembles show persistent snow opportunities for the western mountains, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast through the first week of March. The GFS trends a touch further south than the European, so there is still uncertainty on exactly where the heaviest impacts land, but the overall message is unmistakable. Winter is far from finished. So, to put a bow on all of this for you today, the next 48 hours are all about this clipper system bringing heavy snow and dangerously cold wind chills to the eastern half of the country. Bundle up, stay safe, and take the cold seriously this weekend, especially Sunday morning in the Northeast. Out west, a major Pacific storm brings feet of mountain snow and heavy rain to the lowlands starting this weekend and lasting into the middle of next week. Then, we get the big warm-up across the middle of the country early next week before the atmosphere starts trying to balance itself, which opens the door for more storms midweek. And the long range points toward an active and wintry finish to February, with more storm signals popping up late month and into early March. There is a lot happening, and I am going to be on top of every single development. We will talk again very soon.